Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing with our series on charting our careers and finding our life's purpose using astrology. And today and specifically we are gonna focus on the fifth house, which is not often considered by many astrologers, but I'm gonna explain to you why it is so important. And if that sounds like something that you are interested in, then please stay tuned and keep on watching. And if you haven't seen other parts of this series, then I'm gonna link it right here so you can go ahead and check it out for yourself. And if you are new here, hi, I'm Anna, I'm your spiritual lifestyle coach, and I am here to bring all of those spiritual ideas down to earth and to give you actionable tips and resources that you can use in your daily life. And if that sounds like something you are interested in, then please subscribe and join my amazing community. And now let's get on to the video. So let's start with explaining why I think the fifth house is so important when it comes to your career, because the fifth house is not often considered by doing those readings and when we are wanting to find out what our career path is. But now I'm going to explain to you why I would always look at it. Because the fifth house is naturally ruled by the sun and by Leo. And the sun is the area of our lives where we want to shine our brightest. It is about our soul. And oftentimes the fifth house is associated with creativity, gambling, love affairs. So really topics that are more on a surface. But I think when we go deeper into this house and when we start to think about what creativity actually is, that we can see why it can be important while finding out our life's purpose. Because when we think about it, Leo is ruled by our hearts. So when we are able to align something with our hearts and the job that we are doing and the creative process, I think this is the time when we are starting to really love what we are doing and when everything kind of comes easier and when we are able to create while being in flow, because everyone has their own creative abilities. Creativity, I think, should not be only seen as something, when we are creating art or music or things like that, but on a deeper level, when we think about it, everyone is a creator of their lives and every person has their own creativity. We just express it in different ways, and for each and every one of us, creativity will look a little bit different. So that's why I think considering this house while finding out your soul's purpose and your career is so important, because whatever job we are gonna have, we are gonna be involved in some kind of a creative process. And once we are able to understand what the creative process for us actually looks like, when we are able to align our creativity with the work that we are actually doing, because so many people are doing jobs where they are not aligning their creativity with that job, so they oftentimes feel drained. And when you are doing this for several years, this is really gonna leave you drained. And that's why I think aligning our purpose and our job with the way we are creating specifically is really gonna help you feel energized and more happy with your job, and you are not gonna feel so drained. You are actually gonna become more creative, because when we are aligning with our own specific creativity, we are really able to generate more of this. So that's why I really want to focus on the fifth house today. So the analysis of the fifth house is gonna provide us with information about the fitting work environment for you, even your career and the way you are living and expressing your creativity. And in our analysis, we want to consider the following points. First of all, the sign of the cusp of the fifth house, the ruler of the fifth house, and the sign of your fifth house ruler. So now is the moment where you need to take out your chart and really look at your fifth house and then find out where the ruler of your fifth house is. And so we are gonna start with the cusp of the fifth house. And the sign of the cusp of your fifth house is gonna tell you how your creative ability shows up for you. And remember, in this video, we are really taking creativity on a broader perspective, and we are talking about it as in the creative process in general, not specific creative abilities such as painting, which it can mean for you, but it's not gonna be for everyone, because as I said earlier, creativity and our creative abilities is not something that we only should base on, the visual things and art and making movies and making music. But the creative process for every human being is gonna look different, and every one of us is a creator of some sort. That's why it's so important to know your own unique creative abilities. So now let's go through each and every sign together, and you want to be listening to the part of the video where I'm talking about your house cusp and the sign that you have your house cusp in. So now let's move through each and every zodiac sign. If you have your 5th house cusp in Aries, that means that creativity revolves around this first initial idea and this first spark of inspiration. You are really like a small child when it comes to it, and you really love the first moment of discovering something and the first moment of inspiration, and you really desire to forge ahead, and you have a passion for all that's new. And for you, it is the really initial stage of creation that gives you the most pleasure and that you're great at, and you really need to be able to use that creative explosiveness that occurs in the moment of inspiration and initiate the creative process, because Aries is the initiator. And you really probably would need help, finishing up your creative projects that you are starting, because you are not that great at finishing and at going to the details. You are more of the person that will organize everything and that will have the initial idea, and then you will just go for it, and you will automatically have followers that will follow you and help you to carry out the creative process furthermore and to finish up the details for you. But for you, the creative process is about the idea, it's about the starting things, and this is something that you are just really, really great at. And for you, really, the process of creation expresses itself by being in front of everyone else and starting the creative process. So that's why you also should find something that will allow you to really be the person that finds the ideas and where you are able to initiate things. So for you, creativity is not about like following a structure or following a setup plan. For you, the creativity is just the first spark of inspiration that really inspires you, and then you want to be able to just go and act on that first inspirational idea. 5th house cusp in Taurus. So for you, the creative process revolves around seeing the resources and structures that are actually needed for the creative project that you are being a part of, and really providing that. So you are all about the resources and structures, and you know that things take time, and that's why you are really great at persevering where others might give up. And you really are great at providing the resources that are needed for a specific project, and you're really awesome at thinking things through and then slowly emerging into the creative process. So for you, creativity is not something that is quick, that comes and goes. You really are able to tune into the project and really see all of the steps that are needed and the resources that needs to be taken care of and that needs to be provided for the project. And you are really willing to stay and play the long game and to take on a creative project that really takes quite some time, because this is what you actually are enjoying about it. And you really have this stable and resourceful approach to the project and of creating something that you really are great at projects that take really longer to finish. So for you, it's all about making sure that you use all of the resources that you have in order to finish the creation. So really you need something that will be predictable and where you are and can contribute to the process step by step. And this is an area and a way of how you are gonna be able to express your creativity the best. 5th house cusp in Gemini. So for you, creativity lies in the ability to diversify an idea. You really are amazing at brainstorming, and you really thrive on the creative process with others. And you really have the capacity to take a broad view of things and not becoming overly detached to the details. You are really great at seeing the broader picture and you really are able to bring many different ideas into one creative project. For you, creativity is something that really happens in your brain, and that happens when you are doing brainstorming with others, when you are able to communicate with others, and when you are able to exchange your ideas with the people that you are working with. And so really for you, it is all about the mental stimulation that you get out of it, and it is the process of creating and generating ideas. And the greatest pleasure lies in sharing your ideas with others and making sure that the whole team is involved into the creative process. So you really need something that will bring lots of change with it, and where you are able to use your adaptability and changeability, because you are probably one of the most changeable and adaptable signs out there, and you really need it to thrive. You can't do something that is boring. You really are about the diversity of an idea and of a project. So when the creative project will take too long for you to complete, you really would hate it and you would just get bored with it. So that's why you really need something where you will be able to adapt, where you will be able to change and exchange your ideas with others. This is how you're gonna be at your creative best. Fifth house cusp in Cancer. So your creative process lies in the ability to rest with your feelings and thoughts, to let them run their course without interference from others. And you really thrive in situations where you can apply your knowledge to problem solving. And you tend to immerse yourself in projects and need a moment out for yourself to enjoy the process. You really are at your best creatively when you are able to work with the natural rhythms of the energies and of life and not fighting against it. So for you, your creativity, you are really one of the people that needs to wait for the creative moment to occur, and then you can act on it. You can't force yourself to be creative or force yourself to generate ideas, because this is not how you work. You really are more in tune with the emotions and with the current of life, and you really need to take that to your advantage. So you can be immensely creative when you just wait for the right moment, and then the ideas just come rushing to you, and then you can use all of them. But when you start to rush into things and when you start to force yourself to create, this is where you don't achieve results at all. And this is where you actually become more reserved in yourself, and you kind of pull back and go back into your shell. So you need to make sure that your creative process, or that you work or do something that allows you to work with your own creative process and with the way that you create ideas, and where you are able to wait for the ideas to actually come to you. So your creativity is really strongly influenced by your mood, and sometimes it can be good, but sometimes it can be bad, because when you are feeling bad, this is probably where you won't be able to create that much, unless you're an artist, I would say, because then you would be able to recreate those really amazing paintings out of your bad emotions, and that would really bring that that specific thing into your art, where you will be able to share your emotions and the things that you are going through with others. But when we would look at it at having a normal job where you need to create something, when you are feeling bad, you won't be at your creative best most of the times. And so it's really important for you that you take care of yourself first before you start to immerse yourself in any creative project. And you really need to trust that the inspiration will come to you just when you need it. And you need to give yourself the time and the space for the ideas to come to you. So you can't force your creativity. For you, it's really about tuning into yourself and into your emotions and really feeling them, letting them go through you, and then you are gonna be at your creative best. Fifth house cusp in Leo. So for you, you have the will to create and the stamina to see the whole process through the completion. And Leo is probably one of the most creative signs. And if you have this sign in the fifth house, that means that you are really able to express your creativity, because then it means that the Leo sign is in its own home sign, because fifth house is ruled by Leo. So this probably means that you are really a highly creative person. and you are really self-reliant, and you really thrive on the process of the creation and of bringing your ideas to fulfillment, and you really thrive on or where the creative process or where your creativity will be rewarded and will be seen by others. This is where you are really gonna thrive, and you really are able to organize everything to your liking actually, so you are really great at organizing the whole thing, and you really love the appreciation that comes from a completed project, and you take huge pride in it, and that's why you always put your heart into whatever it is that you are doing, and you really need something that will allow you to be the leader of the whole project, and where you really can follow your own idea and your own creativity, because this is how you are also expressing yourself. So really, this is so important for you that you are able to do your own thing, because you will do such an amazing job, since literally your whole heart is in every project that you are doing. This really allows you to create some magnificent work, and in order for you to be at your creative best, you really need to be able to create something by your own rules, and where you can put your unique expression into something, and where your efforts will be recognized. This is really important for you, because you take such a huge pride in whatever it is that you are doing. So this is how you are gonna be your creative best. Fifth house cusp in Virgo. So for you, the creative strength lies in the ability to analyze situations and really see beyond the obvious things. You really are able to accumulate data from sources that others might overlook, and really digging deep into whatever problem or imperfection is in the given project, because you are so detail oriented, and you really are this perfectionist when it comes to creativity, that you are able to really pick and tune everything to perfection, because you are able to see all of the details that nobody else is actually seeing. But it's because you are able to perfect those details that the work that you are involved in turns out to literally be perfect. And so you are really the perfect analyst when it comes to creative projects and anything that you are actually doing, because you really are able to see the smallest details and also find a fitting solution for that. And you really want to be of service through analyzing and perfecting things. So you are maybe sometimes a harsh critic, but you are the critic that turns everything to be better. And this is really where your creative ability lies. It's the perfecting and the analytical process. And you also can combine it with being of service to others. And this will really allow you to tune into your creative abilities, because you really want to help others. You really want to help the creative process that you are involved in by making those small little tweaks and changes that will make the thing perfect. And so your creative ability lies in perfecting and analyzing things, and this is how you are gonna be able to thrive your best. Libra on the fifth house cusp. So your creative eye focuses on refinement and elegance, both in the process itself and in the result. For you, means do not justify the ends if the means are messy and not meaningful. And the ends are satisfying when you have the stamp of quality that elegance suggests. So you really are all about the elegance of things, but also the thing that you are doing needs to stimulate your mind, because you are really highly intelligent, and you really love to use that, and you really are able to find the sweet spot between elegance and actually assigning a meaning and doing something that has a deeper meaning, and you are able to balance it out perfectly with creativity and with elegance. And so you really thrive on creation of glamour around your work, but not if it distracts from its meaningfulness. So for you, having those two things actually balanced out is really important. And you take the greatest pleasure in partnerships, and therefore you work best in situations where you are able to share a project with somebody else. And you really are able to balance the objective and subjective perspectives in your creative work. So you really are able to see the thing for what it actually is, And you also are able to take any criticism because you are really able to detach from the project and actually see what it actually needs in order to be completed or in order to really be better. And you are great at balancing the different ideas from different people and incorporating them into your projects, since you are always able to see and to use the abilities of others. So this is also really great, and this is what's gonna bring your creativity out, actually hearing what other people are telling to you, or balancing the different needs of a creative project from different people. Oftentimes when we are in a creative work, many people can have different visions, so you are really great at bringing those different visions actually together and creating something that will just balance the needs of everyone that is involved into this project. So you really are at your creative best when you are able to work with people and balance the elegance and the intellectual side of the project, and when you are actually able to balance the different visions from the different people that are working on the project itself and bringing all of that together into one amazing outcome. Fifth house cusp in Scorpio. So you really are at your creative best when others cannot see anywhere to go. You really have a somewhat ruthless ability to hang on and survive, and in fact you really thrive on crisis. And your greatest pleasure is really found in work that achieves the birth of something new and wonderful out of something old and broken. And so you really are able to go into a project that is almost at the end, where everyone gave up on the project and where everything is almost ruined, and you are able to bring those ashes together and create something new out of it. So your feelings are also always an integral part of your creative process, because you focus on whatever it is that you are doing so deeply that it actually almost consumes you, and you actually thrive in those situations. You really want the project that will actually consume you, where you can just put your mind and whole focus onto it, and you really have an incredible gift of really transforming something, like a phoenix from the ashes, and you really are so devoted to the whole process itself, and you really need to be engaged in something that has a meaning behind it, because this is the only way that you will be able to connect and to really focus on that thing when it has a meaning. You can't do something that is very shallow. And when others would give up on that project, this is where you actually step in and pick it up from the ground and transform it into something completely new. So you are maybe not the person that would create something entirely new on your own, but you're the person that is able to transform something from the old and resurrect it and build something new out of it, which really, I think it's such an amazing and beautiful creative ability. So in order to use your creative ability to your best, you really need to be involved in something that has a deeper meaning, and where you are able to give this project that you are working on this kind of metamorphosis, where you are really able to get deep into the creative process and focus on it and create something new out of the old. Fifth house cusp in Sagittarius. So creativity for you involves a bit of the spiritual side of things and of life. And you really find pleasure in being inspired and inspiring others to fulfill their greatest potential. And you are the individual who can see beyond the idea itself through the building process and past the completion of the process, and really take it to the next level and really see it at its finish line. And you really are able to connect with different ideas and different people, and you are really able to see the opportunity in any project that you get involved in. You are like this big opportunities, and you are very optimistic about any projects that you are being a part of. And for you, actually traveling and connecting to different religions or philosophies or cultures will be very inspiring. So you definitely need a change in order to really be inspired. And also you can be really engaged in various things at once. And this could also mean that you would be amazing at supervising many different projects at once and helping it achieve its destiny, because you are able to see the whole project right to the end. So you would really be great at managing all of the projects, because you really want to take it to its destination, because you see the opportunity in the project that you are being a part of. You are very optimistic about it, and you are really able to bring the best out of it. That's why you would really do great at something like that. And for you, your amazing ability also lies in being able to see the potential of everyone that is actually involved in the process and in the project itself. So for you to be your best creative self, you really need to be involved into something that is on a bigger scale, and where you can see the larger picture and not get, drawn into the details, because the details don't interest you. You really want to be able to stay in the visionary mode, where you are able to stay attached and stay tuned with the vision and lead the project that way. For you, this is your creative ability. So you really need something that will allow you either to change places, to be involved in different things, or where you are able to travel, to see different ideas and new ideas, and where you are able to see everything on a larger scale. This is really gonna be where you are able to be your creative best self. Fifth house cusp in Capricorn. For you, creativity is something that is a part of your goal setting process, actually. Because for a Capricorn, you really have a rather planned and structured attitude towards creativity, and this is just how the whole process actually works for you. And you need to set yourself a solid and specific goal on what you want to achieve and how the outcome should look like, and then you will achieve it. You really take great pleasure in producing concrete results. So for you, creativity is not something that is, abstract and that it's like in your head, where you are able to generate ideas. For you, the creative process is about creating the actual thing and bringing it towards the end, because you can see your goal, then you can set up, small steps for yourself, and then you can just achieve it. For you, this is how your creative process just works. And you really also like to be in charge of the whole thing, and you really have the capacity to plan out everything and actually finish it with the desired outcome by yourself even. And in order for you to be able to use your creative potential, you really need to be able to see the end goal and set yourself small steps towards achieving it. And you really work your best when you are the boss of the whole project and where you are in a charge of the project, because you really have the capacity to control everything and to be the supervisor of everything, so that the whole creation will actually achieve its destiny, because you are so great at achieving the goals that you set up for yourself. And for you, as I said, the creative process, it's not something abstract. For you, it's being in charge and actually producing the end result. And this is how you are gonna be at your creative best. Fifth house cusp in Aquarius. So you are a master planner, able to wait just for the right moment. Your creative talent lies in acting decisively when that moment arrives, and you are really a good observer of the human nature, and so you really can maintain a sustainable distance from the project when this is required, and actually take a step back and remain objective to whatever it is that you are doing. So your emotions are unlikely to get in the middle of things, because you are able to take a step back and actually see the cause that you are doing it for, and see it for the facts, because you really can detach from your feelings, which can really actually be a good thing. And you really thrive in situations where you can remain detached enough to see the overall picture, and you desire a certain freedom in doing the things, because you can be a part of a team, but you work at your best when you know the cause and you know how it should turn out, but when you are able to do the things your own way. For you, creativity is a little bit different, because Aquarius is the different sign. It's doing things that are more likely unusual or that haven't been done before, and for you, this is actually where your creative process lies in. And you also are able to analyze your own feelings and thoughts and then turn it into creativity. For you, creativity is something that needs to be analyzed first, where you are able to detach first from the whole thing, when you are able to see the bigger picture, and then you can step in and actually lead the project towards being a little bit different, or doing the creative process itself in a different way, in maybe a detached way or just an unusual way for the project itself, because you really are very innovative and you won't be able to, being consistent with any structures that anyone sets up for you. You are actually gonna break all of the rules that are there. So when we would think of it of like an artist, Aquarius will be the person that would break all of the rules that had been set before of what we would consider being an art. You would actually break the rules and create something entirely new and different, and at the end everyone would actually love it. And so you are really progressive and innovative thinker, and for you the creative process is about bringing everything that's new into a project. And you are also able to think very uniquely and outside of the box, which is really so amazing when it comes to creativity. It's when we are starting to seeing the breakthroughs and actually the new things and ideas that nobody has ever done before, and that are so unique, that are just taking your breath away. And this is really your gift and your detached way of seeing everything. And this really allows you to connect with the project itself on a bigger scale, on a bigger perspective. And for you, it's really important that you have your freedom and the way you are doing things, and you really get the desired outcome, but you really need to be able to do it in your own unique way. And this is how you are gonna be at your creative best. Fifth house cusp in Pisces. So for you, the creative process lies in the ability to connect with something on a bigger scale. You really want to merge with the project that you are working on and become a part of it. And your intuition is really a vital part of the creative process, and your greatest pleasure comes in situations where you really can creatively demonstrate the passionate side of yourself and of your nature, and where you are able to connect with the larger vision of the project and become a part of it, because you are really able to merge with anything that you are working on and that you are creating. And that really allows you to do whatever you are doing with such a deep devotion for that thing, that you really are able to break through any of the illusions of the 3D reality. You are really able to take it to the next level. You are really able to create something literally out of this world. And you also are great at being a part of anything that is not tangible and that is really not something usual and that is not attached to this world that we live in. You really love to think on a bigger scale and beyond the reality that we are living in. So this would be also a great placement for something like being in movies, something that we cannot touch, right? Also music, for example. And for you to be your creative best, you really need to become oneness with the thing that you are doing and working on, to truly be a part of something that is bigger than yourself. This is how you're gonna be able to express your creativity your best, and this is how you thrive as being a devoted part of a larger and bigger project, and that you are truly believing in. For you, this is really an important part. You really need to be able to believe in the project that you are being a part of, and then you really be able to express your creativity the best and really open yourself up for all of the different possibilities and actually connect with your intuition to create something that will break all of the 3D dimensional rules, and where you are just gonna be able to create something that will not have any boundaries. So this is really your creative gift. So now that we went through each and every sign that you have your house cusp in, now we want to look to the ruler of our fifth house. And now I want you to take out your chart and see in what house the ruler of your fifth house is in. And now I'm gonna go through each and every house placement, because this is what's gonna tell us about the area and the environment that you need in order to be your creative best, and the environment that you are gonna be able to thrive, and the area that you will be able to express your creativity your best. So if the ruler of your fifth house is in the first house, that means that you are the most creative when you are both the source of the idea and the implementer, and you really are quite capable of designing and developing products as well as producing the results in your chosen fields. So you really work your best when you are able to lead others, and where you can be really in front of everything that is being created, and when you are able to be the person that takes the first steps, and when you can lead the whole creative process. So for you, really, the environment is about you being in charge and being in front of everyone, and actually acting on the impulses that you have. And you also will thrive in environment where you need to either move or change places, where you are just able to use your creative stamina that you have, and where you are able to do it through your self-expression and through being the first at something. If the ruler of your fifth house is in the second house, that means that you require a rather comfortable setting if you want your creativity to be maximized, or you also will work your best when you know each step that you need to take in order to create something, and where you are able to follow up a setup structure that will help you to create tangible results. So you really are all about the results and creating something of value, and this is really how you will be able to express your creativity the best. If the ruler of your fifth house is in your third house, your creativity works best in areas where communication flows freely. You really can manage 2 or 3 projects at once, and you really will be at your creative best when you are able to communicate with others and exchange your ideas with others and with different people. And for you, creativity literally lies in the ability to use your potential of the mind and of your amazing brain and communicate that to others. So you really need to be in an environment where you are surrounded with people, and where you have much variety, and where you need to think fast, and where you are able to exchange and just communicate with others, and where everything is really happening very, very quickly, because this is where you are actually gonna thrive. If the ruler of your fifth house is in the fourth house, that means that you really come up with your best ideas in the comfort of your own home, or generally when you are surrounded with things and people that you know very well, because for you the environment is really crucial in order for you to be at your creative best, and you really just thrive in settings that you know and that you feel safe around. So that's why you really need a comfortable and quiet space if you want to be able to connect with your creativity. And that means it can be your own home, but this could also mean that you will be able to create your best when you are just surrounded by the people you know well, and when you are surrounded with the people that you can trust in and that you have a deeper meaningful connection with. So this is environment that you need in order to be your creative best. If the ruler of your fifth house is in the fifth house, this means that young people could actually really inspire your creativity. This also means that the ruler of your fifth house, because it's in the fifth house, is in its natural setting, which really pushes your creativity even more. And so you really have this natural capacity for creating something, and you generally need to be in a surrounding that will allow you to shine and to be at the center of attention. So your creativity will shine in a place where you are actually seen and surrounded by people that are seeing your potential. And also I find Leos don't always want to be the only ones that are at the center stage. A healthy Leo also would appreciate being in a surrounding where everyone around them is at their best self, where everyone else is able to kind of come together and shine their light. And you can also be a team player, but you can also be, you know, on your own as an individual that shines the brightest. But you really wouldn't mind when you would be surrounded by people that actually really inspire you and that help you to be your creative best. And this could involve, you know, children or young people or just other people that are at their fullest and best potential. This is really what inspires you, sharing that fire with others who also are at their creative best. So you really need an uplifting environment, an environment where everyone can be their best and where you are able to be your best. Also, you wouldn't mind being at the center stage, obviously, but you can also share your spotlight. But you really need something where you will just be surrounded by this creativity and where everyone else will be recognized and where the creativity itself in you and the creative process will be recognized. If you have the ruler of your 5th house in the 6th house, that means that you need an area where you can kind of stash all of your belongings, situate yourself, and dig into the work. You really like to be practical about the way you are creating things, and for you, the creative process needs to be perfect, and you really need to be in the perfect setting that you set up for yourself. So you really like to work somewhere where you can set up your own structure and where everything can be organized to your liking. So for you, you are at your creative best in a space that allows you to be clean, to be organized, and where you really are able to set the smallest details right for yourself, and then you can actually immerse yourself in the project itself and see into the details of the project. But first of all, you need the fitting environment, which needs to be really perfect and organized, because if not, you will be just too distracted by everything that is not to your liking. So you really need a area that will allow you to set up your own structure, and then you can go into the details of the work that you are actually doing. If the ruler of your 5th house is in the 7th house, your creativity works best in partnership with others. You really like to be surrounded with people that you can work together on a project. And this could be people that are actually your team colleagues. This could be your supervisor, this could be people like below you, but you really need this partnership, this connection to others to be actually your creative best. And when it comes to the area itself, you really need something that is elegant and where the standards are quite high, but where you are still able to work with your colleagues. So when we think of, for example, being a lawyer where the setup is very professional, but you are still able to work with your colleagues on, one case that you are currently working on, this is actually how your creative environment would be the best for you. If the ruler of your 5th house is in the 8th house, this means that your creative process can be expressed in situations where change is the name of the game. The unusual really appeals to you, and you see the transformation as the primary outcome of whatever it is that you are involved in. And you actually work your best somewhere private and intimate, where you are really able to dive deep into the work that you are doing, and where you are able to dive deep in this process of creation. And you also don't mind being somewhere darker or somewhere maybe unusual when you are doing your work, because this is kind of where you will feel connected. It just needs to be kind of isolated and where you are really able to focus and concentrate, and you really don't mind it being somewhere darker or even very unusual for the actual thing that you are doing. You just need to be able to focus and to be more in private and really intimate with whatever it is that you are creating. So this is actually the only thing that you need, and then you will really thrive in it. So environments that are more unusual, darker, private, and deep, intense, where you can kind of also feel the energy from the place itself, will actually help you be your creative best. If the ruler of your fifth house is in your ninth house, your creativity involves the spiritual in some kind of way, and you seek positions that enhance your ability to see the larger picture and mold it. And you might become a powerful teacher who actually facilitates creativity in others. And you also might be able to use your creativity the best during traveling, where you are inspired by new people, by new cultures and philosophies. So you really need change when it comes to your environment, whether that be, change of your mind, so learning something new and some new philosophies and way that you look at things, or maybe meeting other people from other cultures, or really by traveling itself and always changing the place where you're at, because this is gonna actually what is gonna bring out the creativity in yourself and where you're gonna be able to express your creativity the best. But this could also mean that you would actually thrive in a setting that involves higher education, so being at places like that could also be a potential environment that would be actually great for you. If the ruler of your fifth house is in the 10th house, that means that your creative process can manage the most public demonstrations. This is probably because you do your homework ahead of time, but you are known for the results you achieve and not for, the behind the scenes activities that you are doing. And you really need a place where you can present your outcome to the public eye and where you have lots of responsibilities. This is actually where you will be able to thrive. You love the weight of responsibilities on your shoulder, and you also would work great in an environment that is more official and where there is a huge amount of professionalism that is expected from the creation process itself. So working in spaces that are very official will actually help you to really thrive and to be at your creative best. You need those high standards and you need those goals and you need that structure and that professionalism in order to be at your creative best. If the ruler of your fifth house is in the 11th house, you are a huge asset in any crisis and you are at your most creative best under pressure actually. Whether working with a group or alone, you are really able to think your way through difficulties and come out on top of most of situations. And you really work great as a part of a larger or bigger group, but you definitely need your freedom in the way you are doing things. And you don't mind having a more strange or unusual work setup where you are kind of left out on your own and you just need to figure things out your way, because this is actually how you are gonna be able to thrive. So anything that's more unusual, that allows you to actually be in a more unusual pace and setup where you are able to detach a little bit and just do the things that you are actually want to do them. And also when you are able to bring some innovation into the whole process. This is the environment that will leave you thriving. If the ruler of your fifth house is in your 12th house, that means that your creative process and efforts blossom in private, where you are allowed to try out ideas without the concern for what others might think. There is plenty of time for you to evaluate the ideas before they are finished, and where there is plenty of time for you to actually review and go over the ideas and the creation itself in private on your own, where you can really sit with the things that you are actually doing. And you need to be able to be on your own in your own sanctuary, where you can have the freedom to sit with your own thoughts and immerse into your subconscious mind. This is where ideas actually come to you, and you really need to be able to connect with them without distractions from others. This is really gonna be the best creative environment for you. So you can't be somewhere where you need to be involved in a creative process with others, or where you need to come with ideas very quickly. You really need to take your time, be in private, be able to really sit with the things that you are actually doing, be able to sit with yourself, to immerse in your subconscious mind, to connect to it, and then just dive into the whole process, and where you can experiment a little bit, but where you are not afraid that everyone else will see it before it's finished. You really are the person that needs to do the things by being on their own, because this is where you are gonna be able to come up with your most amazing ideas. It's when you are able to be in private with yourself and with the way you are doing things and with your subconscious mind, where you can literally have the connection to your intuition, because this is how you are gonna be at your creative best. So now let's take a look at the sign that the ruler of your fifth house is in, because this is gonna give us further more information about how creativity will exactly show up for you and how it will express itself. So if the ruler of your fifth house is in Aries, your creative process is complemented by your assertive energy. You really can take the initiative when it's necessary, and you bring enthusiasm and energy into your work, and you really can be very spontaneous, and you really prefer to be at the front line ahead of everyone, and you really love to use your energy for the creative process itself. And you're not someone who will think twice when you get an idea. You really like to act immediately, and like without being concerned if you are allowed to do this thing or not. You really need to be able to follow your lead and follow your ideas as they come. If the ruler of your fifth house is in Taurus, that means that you like to focus on practical considerations and leave like the daydreamings to others, and you really measure success in terms of results. Results for you include completion, harmony, and resources managed in just the perfect way. And for you, it's all about structure and the completion of the actual project. You really will be great at taking it step by step and organizing the whole thing and being involved in something that takes quite some time to complete, because you are not someone who acts up very quickly or that needs constant change. You actually thrive in settings where there is structure and organization, and where you have your stability, and where you are just able to take it step after step after step. If the ruler of your fifth house is in Gemini, that means that your mental creativity is certainly a huge career asset for yourself. Generally, you are very open-minded, and you are also able to speak your mind. And you really can be a valuable mediator in different situations, or you really are great at exchanging ideas with others. And you really love to brainstorm with others and exchange your ideas, and this is really how your creativity will show up for you. You really need to be able to speak a lot with others, exchange ideas, communicate, and this is how the creative process will show up for you, and this is where you are gonna be your creative best. If the ruler of your fifth house is in Cancer, that means that you really bring a dedicated touch to your work. You really get involved emotionally into the things that you are doing, and you really have a huge intuition about you and about the creative process and the things that you are involved in. And you really need to be able to listen to your intuition, because this is really a huge advantage for you. So for you, how the creativity is actually gonna show up, it is gonna show up through nurturing the whole project, and through maybe also caring for others that are on the same project. You are really able to tune into the emotions and the needs of others that are on the team maybe, and to help everyone feel very, very good about the whole project. And you really love to create a very loving atmosphere in the space that you are working in. If the ruler of your fifth house is in Leo, that means that you really love the approval of others, and you really love to be in the spotlight, and you are really able to carry off the dignity required in stressful situations. You really are fearless when it comes to achieving or to creating something, and you really are able to fight for whatever it is that you believe in, because your whole heart is in the project that you are involved in. So this is how your creativity will show up for you, and how you are really gonna express it. And you really need to be able to create the most magnificent things to your liking, and you really need to do it in your own creative way, because this is gonna be an area of your life where you want to shine, and this is gonna be an area of your life where you are gonna be able to express yourself and express your creativity. So for you, actually being recognized for the things that you are doing is actually very, very important, and for you being able to shine in the project and in the process itself is really gonna be crucial. If the ruler of your 5th house is in Virgo, that means that you really bring diligence and orderly procedures to your creative work, giving it really this logical balance, and you really are capable of being critical and seeing the smallest details of whatever it is that you are working on, which is not really something that is bad, because you are being critical because you want to improve things. You are actually really great at seeing the details that nobody else is paying attention to and actually improving that project. And you really have a very methodical approach that solves really many problems without the unnecessary stress. And you really work very detail oriented, and you really are able to fix almost everything that you are working on. And this is how you contribute to every project, and this is how your creativity expresses itself. If the ruler of your 5th house is in Libra, your sociability contributes to your creative efforts in the work environment. While you desire a position of importance sometimes, you are able to work well with others and with other positions, with people that are either below or above you. And for you, manners are really a strong asset, and you are all about creating a work environment that really will allow you to be professional, that will allow you to be elegant. And so you are really about elegance, about working with others, and about creating harmony in the whole process itself. So you are all about the beauty of things, the elegance, the importance of things, because we can't forget that Libra is also very, very intelligent, and you really love your mind to be stimulated, and you really love to work for something that has a deeper meaning. And also working with people and creating that harmony and the whole project itself is actually how you are gonna be able to express your creativity. If the ruler of your 5th house is in Scorpio, that means that you really have a strong will, and you really enjoy the quality in others as long as they don't get in your way. So you really feel passionate about the creative project you are involved in, and you are really fearless in the face of obstacles. So whenever obstacles are arising and everyone wants to give up, this is actually where you are able to thrive. And you really have a gift of transforming any project that you are working on and that you are assigned to, and you are really able to create something new out of the old. So your creative ability lies in actually transforming things and in getting really deep into whatever it is that you are actually working on. If the ruler of your 5th house is in Sagittarius, you really bring a more philosophical attitude to your work, and you are really able to adapt to rather different circumstances and to different ideas and philosophies. And you really thrive in situations that require an open mind, and you really don't like to be attached to the small details. You are actually thriving in the creative process where you are able to connect with the idea of the whole thing, and where you are able to just stay in the bigger process of things, where you are able to see everything from a distance, where you don't have to get involved into every single small step. You actually prefer to be the person that actually is able to see the big picture and to stay in the vision, because this is really how your creativity is gonna express itself. It is gonna express itself through you being more and having more maybe spiritual attitude towards things, and being more philosophical, so in staying more in your mind and in staying in the whole idea of the whole process itself. If the ruler of the 5th house is in Capricorn, that means that you are able to create more than other people just because of your sheer determination. And for you, because you actually have a pretty stubborn or classical approach towards your creativity and towards the whole creative process, it is really important for you that you can still set up your goals, and that you are able to see the goal that you are working towards to, but you really must watch out that the work that you are doing, that creative work, doesn't actually feel like a burden, that it doesn't become just something that you are working towards to, where you are just working towards a certain goal. So you still need to be able to actually connect with your creativity. And for you, sometimes because you take such a serious approach towards it, this can actually get lost. So you can actually get lost towards working to achieve the goal of the whole project that you are working on, that you actually forget to have fun in the process itself, or that you actually forget to connect with your creativity because you can actually become so concentrated and so focused on the goal that you forget that it is something creative that you are actually working towards to. So for you, achieving the balance between achieving a certain goal and setting goals for yourself while still maintaining and being able to connect with your creativity is really, really important. But for you, your creativity will probably show up in a more serious and structured way. If the ruler of your fifth house is in Aquarius, that means that your creativity is aided by strong powers of observation and the willingness to participate in a group effort. So you really are a team player and you really love to be in a bigger group where you are able to connect with others that are working towards the same cause. And you really understand the human nature in general, and you are really great at seeing the big picture, although you really must be careful because you are not so good when it comes to the individual. So sometimes people may take it personally if they don't know you, but your great ability lies in actually being more detached and being more observant and actually connecting everyone to the cause that you are working towards to. If the ruler of your fifth house is in Pisces, that means that your receptivity puts you in a position of being in the creative process of every situation. You really are able to merge with everything that you are doing and that you are working on, and you really put your whole identity towards the project that you are stepping into. And you really can bring people that are working with you together towards a cause. And for you, really, your creativity will show itself through merging with the project that you are working on and really becoming a part of something bigger than yourself. For you, this is how your creativity actually shows up, and tuning into your imagination and tuning into your intuition will be a constant part of the creative process itself. So guys, now we went through everything that we could regarding to our fifth house, and I really hope that you are able to see the depth of this house and that you are able to see how it actually connects with the creative process itself, and that you understand your own creativity on a deeper and a different level, and that you are able to see how you can actually use it in your professional setup or in the creative process in general. I have to say, I was really surprised once I learned astrology and once I learned to, dive deeper and to see the deeper meaning of my fifth house, because I wasn't really able to see it on a such deeper level, but it all made so much sense. And for me, I really am a person that needs to create when I am alone. This is where I create my best, where I am able to focus on the things that I'm actually doing. And for me, my creation process relies in the ability to just go with the flow and to really go with my emotions. And for me, being able to honor that and don't push myself if I'm not feeling creative, I just can't force myself to create. So for me, this was so helpful, actually being able to know and to allow myself to only be creative where I'm feeling like that. And on those days, I can literally create so much because I just get overflowed by the amount of the ideas that I get. And for me, to be able to see that and to actually honor that has really helped me to be actually more productive. And I really hope that for you, you also learn something about how you are able to be your creative best and about the work environment that you need in order to create your best ideas and to be your most productive and creative, because this is also something that will actually allow us to be more creative and to be more productive, right? Because when we are not feeling drained every time we have to do something or every time we have to create, but we actually know how the creative process works for us individually and we are able to use it to our advantage, we are able to create so much better results in general, and we don't feel drained afterwards, which is really the whole point of it, because we need to see everything long term. And when we really want to achieve great results in the long run, and when we want to live a more aligned life, it's so important that we actually learn how we are creating and how we can be our creative selves. So I really hope that this video was helpful for you, and if you didn't see the other videos of this whole series that I'm doing here, then please go ahead and check out this playlist here. That will give you all of the information that you need in order to find your soul's purpose and your career in this lifetime. And thank you so much for watching and staying until the end. And if you are not a part of my amazing Facebook group yet, then please check it out. The link is gonna be down in the description box, because in the Facebook group I am really able to connect with you on a deeper level, and we can exchange our ideas and everything that we are going through on a such deeper level, and I just love the community there. So please join us, and I will see you there. So guys, that was it. Thank you so much for staying and joining me today. If that video was helpful, then please don't forget to share that with others and subscribe and like my videos. This helps me out so much, so thank you again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.